Hey guys, welcome to another Hair Talk Tuesday. It's your girl Ashley here. For those of you who are new here, my name is Ashley Ford. I am a natural hair stylist and educator, and this is Hair Talk Tuesdays. So, for those of you who are not familiar with what I do, I specialize in enhancing natural beauty so that you can command the spotlight, and I do that through our weekly hair talks, weekly videos and tutorials, and I also have a monthly class. So this week we have started our Mother's Day sale with Serenity Naturals. So if you follow me on Instagram and Facebook, you saw that yesterday we posted that we're starting our Mother's Day sale. So make sure that you go to serenitynaturals.equit.com and purchase any of our products. Everything is on sale. So basically what you're going to do is spend $25 or more and you get 15% off. Use the code MOM21 when you check out. All right, guys. So today's Hair Talk Tuesday, we are getting into some questions that I have either received via DM, email, text, whatever. And I've answered those questions for other people, but I feel like they aren't the only ones who have those questions. So today we're going to just dive into 5 questions that are probably the most common that I get, and I want to answer them for you here on today's Hair Talk. Now, a little bit before I do that, I want to make sure that I, first of all, show you my hair. Here. And for those of you who are familiar with my Facebook page as well as my YouTube channel, you know that we have an upcoming class in May the 8th. It is a clip-in extension class. Now we're going to make our own clip-ins, not the extensions. I don't know how to do that yet. I'm sure if I put my mind to it, I could. But we're going to make our own clip-in. So if you have a bundle of hair that, maybe you've used once or twice that you want to kind of just make some clip-ins with, we're going to take your bundle and I will be sending you clips and thread and all the supplies that you need in order to make your own clip-ins. So we're going to measure them to our head specifically, and we're going to put them all over in every which way. Now, if you're someone who has purchased clip-ins before, you know that more times than not, they don't give you enough hair, and a lot of times it's not going to fit your head. It wasn't designed to fit your head. They're basically using, your standard mannequin head to measure out these pieces that they give you. Most of them end up being about 20 clips, which isn't enough to fill up a head. I know this this bundle of hair that I got was like half of a bundle. So they probably gave me maybe 7 pieces, possibly 8. And that's not going to fill up my whole head. So they're meant to be fillers in some cases. But I want to show you how to make your own clip-in so that you can fill your whole head. If you want to use them as a protective style, as you see I have, this is just a pony. But you can do that. So that's what the class is about. Make sure that you click the link above to register. And yeah, May 8th, 4 p.m. I will see you there. Okay, guys. So let's get into these questions. Now, a lot of times what ends up happening is people will email me, Facebook me, DM me, you name it, to ask me questions about their hair, their child's hair, mom, dad, whomever, just because, a lot of times they don't feel comfortable asking some of the people that either do their hair or they just feel like they could come to me. A lot of them are clients of mine, friends of mine, et cetera, et cetera. So the first question, the most common question that I've received is, how often should I trim my hair? And one of the things I want to talk about when it comes to trimming is there is a difference between a trim and a haircut. Let's start there, because I think I saw a post a while ago And a young lady who's a stylist said, it was supposed to be like a funny meme or TikTok or whatever. And she said, what's the difference between a trim and a haircut? And then nothing. But then, and that was to kind of grab your attention because people like me are like, wait, what? And so that's the beginning of the reel, if you will, or the IG video. And so then you have to click to watch more. Well, after she does this whole little skit in the comments section, she backpedals and then tells people the difference. And so my thing is, I don't like to be misleading. I don't like to give people false information. There is a huge difference between a trim and a haircut. Now, when it comes to extremely damaged hair, we're far past talking trim at this point. Because if you have see-through hair is what I call it. If I can hold up your hair and see straight through it, or if I lay your hair on, flat on your shirt and I see color through that hair, it has to come off. And that, in my opinion, is a haircut at that point. It's no longer a trim. A trim shouldn't be more than 2 inches. 2 inches is even cutting it. I mean, a trim should be between an inch to an inch and a half. So 2 inches and above, in my opinion, is a haircut. I mean, that's a lot of hair to be cutting off. So I want to make sure I get that out of the way and clarify that, because there is a difference. And I want you all to make sure that when you're asking for a trim, that the person isn't scissor happy and going more than 2 inches, unless they're explaining to you, hey, you have damaged hair and this is classified now as a haircut. Okay, so to answer the question was, how often should I trim my hair? I say between 60 to 90 days if you're natural. The same is true for someone who has a relaxer, who stretches their relaxers. And when I say stretch your relaxer, what I want to convey is that you're doing more than just the 6 to 8 weeks. You're doing like 12 to 15, 12 to 18 in some cases. It just depends on you. If you're somebody who only gets a relaxer once a quarter, again, when you get that relaxer, you get your hair trimmed. Now, in between, there is some maintenance that you may need to do, but you don't necessarily have to do a trim every time you sit in a chair. So if the person who's doing your hair is trimming your hair every time you sit in a chair, that's a problem, especially if you're going as often as bi-weekly. So be careful. Okay, so then the next question, and this is such a good question. I have been co-washing my hair, and I want to know the difference between washing versus co-washing and which one is better. Now, I am someone who is always going to tell you to do what your hair likes. Okay, first and foremost, because everybody's hair is different. What I may do to my hair, I can't necessarily do to my kids' hair, and vice versa. So co-washing, if you're someone whose hair responds to a good co-wash and it's not leaving your scalp, still dirty and that sort of thing, then absolutely co-wash, however many times you want. If you wash your hair once a week and you want to co-wash every single week, do that. Now, there needs to be 1 week, though, within that month that you do a nice deep cleaning and washing of the hair, and then deep conditioning. So that's one of the other questions on here is deep condition. How often should you deep condition? We'll get there in a second. But the reason why I say that is because you're not necessarily getting all the dirt off your hair when you're co-washing, unless you're using a lathering co-wash. Now there are some co-washes out there that are lathering, so you may want to use that. And if you do, then absolutely go for it, co-wash every single week, and that's fine. The reason why I say that is because there is a actual bacterial agent within there that's getting rid of all of that dirt and grime when you have a lathering co-wash. If you just have something where you're using just conditioner on your hair when you're washing, then no. You need to at least have 1 week within your month where you're actually using a clarifying shampoo and then a hydrating shampoo and then conditioning your hair afterwards. Okay? The second part of that question was which one is better. Honestly, it's about what your hair likes. So I would never tell you that one is better than the other. Because I don't know. I don't know how your hair responds to co-washing versus washing. And it could be the shampoo, it could be the product. So me saying one is better than the other, I would never do that. All right. The next question is, my daughter keeps having lint and knots on her hair. What product can I use to help this? Okay. So lint and knots on I'm assuming it's on the end of the hair. And I think actually, yes. So for this particular question, because I did answer her and she clarified that it was on the ends. That signifies the hair needs to be trimmed. A lot of times when you see a buildup of lint, a buildup of like knots, when you start to detangle, you're noticing that you're, detangling lots of knots out of the hair. More times than not, that hair needs to be trimmed, like a good trim. There's some split ends, there's some damage, maybe possibly there that needs to be rectified. So cutting, that off and those ends off will help to get the lint away, and you'll notice that there's less knots around that, once you do that. A lot of times you need to probably have a good haircut. That's not necessarily a trim at that point. I would look at the hair, pull it taut. You don't have to straighten the hair. I know that the misconception is that when you get a trim, that you need to straighten the hair in order to do it, and that's not true. If you know what you're doing and truly know what you're doing, when it comes to curly hair, you don't have to straighten the hair first in order to get a trim. And again, that's someone who knows exactly what they're doing. Now, I won't say that that's true for everyone. Most people typically need the hair to be straight in order to trim it because they're not educated enough on how to trim curly or how to cut curly hair. So, that would be a conversation you should have with your stylist. But if they're able to do so, it would just be a matter of you just pulling the hair taut towards the end and then seeing if what's in between those fingers towards the end is see-through. Okay. And if once you get to the end of that hair, if whatever is see-through is more than 2 inches, then it's requiring a haircut. But the lint and the knots and those things will go away once that situation is rectified. Okay. Now we're going to get to the question that I kind of brought up, but then backpedaled because I knew it was coming back, is how often should I deep condition? Now, this question is a two-parter because one, if you're someone who mostly co-washes your hair, maybe because you have low porosity hair and you need the hydration, or if you're someone whose hair just responds well to co-washing, or you just like co-washing because you like the way it makes your hair feel, whatever you do, if you're a co-washer, then my suggestion is at least 1 week out of the month that you shampoo with a clarifying shampoo, use a hydrating shampoo, and follow that up with a deep condition at least once a month. Now that could be even if you own, you're bi-weekly with it as far as your shampoos and conditions and that sort of thing, or co-washes, sorry. More people than not that I know that co-wash regularly are usually doing it once a week. So if you're doing it once a week, then, one of those weeks it needs to be a full-on shampoo, clarify, hydrating, deep condition. Okay, but if you're someone who uses regular shampoo, clarifying shampoo, hydrating, just your simple condition or even a leave-in condition, because maybe you use an all-in-one. There's some of you who use an all-in-one natural hair product, which is fine. There are some really good ones out there. So long as it's not something that says head to toe, we're fine. Um, um, those of you who may, if you shampoo bi-weekly, one of those times needs to be a deep condition. If you shampoo weekly, one of those weeks needs to be a deep condition. Actually, I would say 2 of those weeks out of the month need to be a deep condition. And you could do it bi-weekly if you wash every single week with clarifying shampoo, hydrating shampoo, and your conditioner. Okay? All right, our last question is, I have been experiencing a lot of shedding. Is that normal? Now, I love this question because a lot of people think that shedding is a terrible thing. It is the worst thing that could possibly happen to your hair, and that's not true. Shedding is normal. However, depending on how much your hair is shedding, there's a difference between shedding and falling out. If you're noticing that your hair is shedding while you're just sitting still, that's more of a dermatology question. And that's something you probably need to seek medical attention about, because there is something going on within the layers of the skin that I can't help you with. At that point, if you were coming to me as a client, I would tell you to go to a dermatologist, and not just any dermatologist. I'm talking about a dermatologist that specializes in hair, specifically natural hair if you're natural, but black hair care and not just hair care. Sorry, little pause there because I needed that to sink in. But yeah, so shedding is normal. If your hair is just kind of coming out, when you're detangling, it's dead cells that are basically breaking off and creating room for new cells to grow. So if it's just minimal, you got a little something, a little ball of hair after you detangle, totally normal. If you're experiencing, like I said, excessive shedding and it's all the time, like every time you brush your hair, you have when I say globs, I mean like globs of hair coming out, that's an issue, and that's something that you probably need to seek medical attention about. Other than that, I mean, like I said, shedding is normal, and you should want your hair to be shedding, because again, it's making room for new hair and it's allowing you to have something grow in the place of that hair that's coming out. Especially if you're somebody who wants to retain length or grow, past a certain place, maybe it's shoulder length, maybe it's bra strap length. If that's the case, then you want to get rid of the dead weight, basically. Okay, so guys, thank you so much. Today was great. If you yourself have any questions that you'd like me to answer, anything you'd like for us to talk about, topics, um, you know, problems that you see that you've noticed, even if they're funny or controversial, like, I don't care. Let's talk about it. I would love to talk to you about all of the things that go on with your hair. That is what I love and I truly, truly enjoy. So make sure that you either comment below, you can DM me on Instagram, message me on Facebook. I will be sure to respond. You can also send me an email through textures haircarellc@gmail.com. The links to my email will also be in the comment section, so make sure that you do so. Thank you so much for joining me today for another Hair Talk Tuesday, and I'll see you next week. Bye.